Is it recording?
Mm-hmm.
Hi guys, we're back after a couple months being off,
More than a couple months.
a lot of months being off, and we're always on again, off again. Now we're on again, and we have some news, we have updates, we have surprises. Would it be a surprise?
For some people, I think it might be a surprise because I don't really talk about it. So
Yeah,
I think it might be.
this is your coming out story.
Yes, I'm coming out. I'm finally coming out to my true
Yes,
self.
exactly. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, the way that I think about it, it's like it really is because this is a huge part of you that I feel like a lot of people don't know.
Okay, so what is it? You tell me.
Do you want me to come out for you?
Yes, I feel it's always better for someone to out you than you come out yourself.
Okay, well, since you're giving me permission, Xavier is actually an RN. He's a registered nurse in California, and I feel like this is something that I've always like wondered why you've kept from everybody since I think that it's such a big achievement. Why did you choose to like keep it from people?
I'm actually very proud of my accomplishments. It was very hard to graduate and pass and get where I am today. So nursing school is no joke. I tell anybody that if you go into nursing school, there's a lot of people that you go with will probably not, when you first show up the first day, you will probably not see. So to answer your question, why I kept it a secret? I started out in music years ago, and then when my father got really sick, I took a break from music, helped my mother take care of him when he passed away. I just felt like I had a new calling in life, so I went back to school, got my nursing degree, my associates, and got my bachelor's while I was working, and then got my master's while I was working just before I came to California. So it wasn't really like I was keeping a secret, but I just felt like I just needed to keep them separate because it's like two different parts of my life, and I wanted to keep separate because honestly, from my experience, people don't take you seriously when you apply for normal jobs and you say, "Oh, by the way, I worked in the music industry for over 10 years." I remember when I first applied for jobs, they would not even look at me. So that's why I have two separate resumes for my music and for my music. I don't ever mix them up.
And then just like being like social with people, is that something that you bring up in a conversation that you do these two different things, or do you keep that a secret or not a secret but like separate as well?
It really depends, like where I am. Like I still consider myself an artist, so I still tell people, "Oh, well, I work in the music industry," because I do. And it depends on the crowd of people I'm with. I guess if I'm with other medical professionals, I will say, "Oh, by the way, I'm a level one trauma nurse in the emergency department." I'll bring that stuff up. It really depends on the company I'm with, I guess.
That's interesting. So
But normally when people come and approach me to ask me what I do, I tell them, "Hey, I work in the music industry."
would that be like your go-to over like saying you're a nurse,
Yes,
or
always.
okay,
It,
even if you're around like nurses, is
it
that still like something that comes up first? It's like, oh, by the way, I'm in the music industry, or does it like switch off depending on who you're speaking to?
it depends. Like for example, when we went to Puerto Vallarta with my friend Tiffany, who actually
Yes.
worked with me, when people asked me, people were coming up to us left and right saying, "Oh, whatever, whatever. What do you do?" "I work in the music industry." It just comes off, rolls off the tip of my tongue because I'm so used to it. I don't say, "Oh, by the way, I work in the emergency department. I'm a nurse." I don't say that. That doesn't come out. And plus, I think like I have such a unique look that I don't look like a nurse.
You would, right. And how long have you been a nurse for now?
Oh, I graduated from nursing school in 2016. So do the math. Yeah,
About 10 years. It's been a decade.
almost a decade. Almost.
Almost a
It will be a
decade.
decade next month because I was it May? No, May. May of 2016 is when I graduated from nursing school. When I gave my speech.
Okay, and then now you being a decade in and you having your music for over a decade, do you think that you resonate with one industry more than the other, or is it kind of like you equally like doing both? just as much?
I think I equally like doing both, but I think for me, music for me is much more fulfilling. I find myself happiest when I'm singing. I find myself happiest when I'm performing, happiest when I'm recording, happiest when I'm around other people who we can talk about music. I find myself very happy. Nursing is great too. Like I said, I work in the emergency department. So if you ever seen those medical shows, they're all about the ER because the ER is where all the stuff happens that everyone likes to see. It's very exciting. I think it has given me a lot of a different. I guess I look differently on my music now than I did before I had this career, just on people in general.
Nice. And, moving forward, I feel like now that you've announced this is something, a passion of yours as well, do you think you're going to be pushing off music more to keep on pursuing your passion as a nurse? Or do you think you're still going to give that 50-50, like, attention to both your music career and your nursing career?
Well, I know at some point, I remember when I was signed with Warner Brother last year, my old management told me that I really needed to decide. I couldn't do both. And I thought, you know what? I could do both. But now, when this year came around, I just feel like I need to focus my energy on one thing. And I feel like that should be my music because music is what pays me and which brings me the most happiness. Don't get me wrong, nursing is very exciting as well. I met some amazing people in my journey as a patient. I met some really amazing patients. And it's funny because I've worked at this particular hospital in California for like 6 years since I've been here. And I've been in management for like 2 going on 3. And I still run into patients that I see that had me when I used to take care of them on the floor, and they still remember me, which is kind of shocking to me because they're always like, "Oh yeah, I remember you. I remember your style, and you were such a great nurse taking care of me." I get that all the time. So for me, in that aspect of doing this and doing that, like it's for me, it's gonna be hard to give up one thing, and that's probably why I still haven't. While I'm still doing this, I really don't have to be a nurse, but I still feel like I need to because I went to school and have all this education now, and I don't want to have it go to waste, and I don't want to lose skills.
Yeah, I mean, how deep are you into nursing? Like, how much time, how much energy, how much have you dedicated into nursing beyond obviously like working for the past 10 years? Like, how much goes into like studying, into school? Like, what have you sacrificed so far into nursing?
Well, I remember when I first started nursing school, I dropped everything. Like, I already took a break from music to help my mother take care of my father, so I just kind of never came back. I was signed with Atlantic Records at the time, and so I told them I was taking a break, and I just never came back. It was the end of my contract anyways, but I just literally never came back. And I knew I would be burning bridges in a way because I never really gave them an explanation why I was leaving. They just knew that I had some family emergency. I just never came back. And I felt like that was like a segue for me to actually do something different. For at that time is what I felt like I really needed to do. I felt like it was my calling. I felt like I had to take care of people. I felt at that moment that this was where my path lies. And when I went to school, that's all I did. I didn't speak to any friends. I didn't speak to anybody. I told nobody. The only person that knew that I was in nursing school was the person I was dating at the time because they were living there, and my mom. Nobody else. Didn't tell my brothers, sisters, none of my friends. All they know is I stopped talking to them for 2 years.
That's wild. So you've sacrificed a lot
I mean,
to become a nurse.
I mean, I got my bachelor's and I have my master's. So just education wise, I think for me to get my master's, I just felt like when I got my bachelor's, I was so happy because at that time, I was the only person in my family who didn't have a college degree. I mean, I had an associate's, but I was the only one that didn't have at least a bachelor's. So when I got my bachelor's, I felt super accomplished. I felt like my family was more supportive. And actually they were. Like my mother was more proud of me being a registered nurse than me being nominated for a Grammy. and my success in music. She was more proud of me as getting a college degree, and I think that's because like she's an immigrant. She came to this country to get a better life for herself and for her children, and she wanted us to have a better life than she had. And she always told us like education is free here. Take advantage of it, because back where she was, education was not free. So she was very proud that now like we all had degrees. We all had at least a bachelor's. My sister and I were the last two to actually get our bachelor's. And then when I got my master's, I felt even more accomplished. It's like, oh my God, like I can do anything. Then I wanted to become a nurse practitioner. I got a full scholarship to UCLA for their DMP program. And it was right before COVID. When COVID hit, of course, all the classes stopped, everything stopped. And then dealing with a lot during COVID, working in the emergency department in an environment where you get hit with all the diseases first.
Right.
Seeing a lot of your friends die, seeing patients die, where the normal things that we would do for people that would have like respiratory distress was no longer working. You know, it scared a lot of people. It scared myself. It scared a lot of doctors. A lot of nurses left nursing after COVID. Even though I was working like every single day because they were giving us that like extra money bonus.
Yeah.
You know, but after a while, I kind of thought about it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm putting my life at risk every day for a disease that we know nothing about. You know, and if you ever work in the emergency department, like all ER nurses think that they're invincible to everything. Like when you go into an isolation room, we don't put gowns on. We just run right in. No matter what disease it is, we don't wear masks. I remember during COVID, we weren't wearing masks because people were dying. We did not have time to put on those pappers they had, those big masks, and we didn't have time for that. If there was a mask available, we'd put it on, but otherwise we would run in the room and do what we needed to do to save a life. So after COVID, when you have time to like think about all these things, it's like, oh my God, every day I'm putting my life at risk. Is it really worth it? And then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to further my my education. I don't want to do any more in nursing. I think my master's is good right now. And then during COVID, I started with music again. I put up my song "Crew Like That," which did very well. It was like right after the first wave of COVID, when everything opened up. I was able to do a video for this. The song was already out. I just needed a video. And then that song did very, very well. And that's kind of when I started going back into nursing. And then COVID hit again. Everything shut down again. And then it was kind of like in that phase where when the second wave hit, it was way worse than the first one. I just thought, like, you know what? I really kind of need to do something different in my life. And then at that time is when I found out some other information about myself, which also put my mindset a little differently about how life is so short.
Yeah.
And I can't be doing things that's going to harm myself, because who knows when the next wave of whatever comes. Right. You know, as a first line person, you are the first people to get everything, and they know nothing, absolutely nothing about whatever's going to get you. You kind of have to just kind of deal with it.
And I mean, you brought up a really good point. You guys are the first line of defense for everything. I mean, having that in mind, even now, not that like COVID is like as big, I would say, as it first was back in 2019 when it first came out. You're still the first person to be in contact with these diseases that, you know, people need help with, people need a cure for. Like, what keeps you going and keeps you saying, you know what, I want to continue to be in the front line and risk essentially your own life to help people?
Well, if you guys remember, like when COVID hit, like everybody, people would line up outside of our hospitals and clap for us, and they would give us food daily. Restaurants would donate food. People would literally come up to us and say, oh, thank you so much for saving lives, because, you know, you only see what you see on TV. Right. But then after COVID was kind of over, it was not really a big thing anymore. People treated us like crap, pretty much. Like, now we were the scum of the earth. We were stupid. We were assaulted. People would throw stuff at us. And it was at that point, again, I just realized, like, you know what? People are just ungrateful. like they don't remember what we did. But now that it's kind of over, now we're the scum of the earth. We're trash. And then that kind of put my mindset as well. Like, you know what? I just think I needed to just go and do something else. Like, even though like I'm a manager now, so it's a little bit different. But I still deal with patients. I deal with family members. Now I deal with staff, which is even worse. And then it's just it's stressful, but in a different stressful way. Like I always tell people, like nurses, you can tell someone don't take your work home with you, but the first time you see somebody die, it is really. I mean, there's no like I know, like for example, my brother's a police officer. I remember if he shoots somebody, they have like grievance counselors for them. They have people they talk, they pull them off their beat for a while and give them some time off to deal with it if they shoot somebody. But if people die in front of us, that doesn't happen to us. We just kind of take a break and take the next patient and then kind of act like it doesn't happen. But, you know, it does affect you. It affects you. I remember the very first person that I saw die in front of me. I'll never forget it. So, you know, it's one of those jobs where you do take your work home with you. Even though you tell them you shouldn't, you can't help it. You just do.
Wow, that's insane. Talk about exposing the industry. That's huge. I mean, what else can you tell us about, you know, healthcare industries? What actually happens, like the reality versus expectation? Like, what are those huge differences that maybe someone that might want to become a nurse, like, should really kind of like look out for or like expect?
Well, I know all I know everyone watches those like ER TV shows.
Yeah.
Number one, the doctors are not that involved. The doctors aren't doing IVs. The doctors aren't doing all these things that it makes it out to be. The nurses are the ones that are talking to the patients. The nurses are the ones that are doing all the labs, bringing patients back. We're the ones talking to the patients about what the doctor just said. We're the one that gives the results to the patients. So that's like this big misconception is that on all these shows, the doctors are always there. Oh, the doctors doing doctors don't do that. Doctors don't discharge people. I mean, they should. Some doctors are like that, but most of the doctors that I've worked with are not like that. They see their patients barely, talk to them, and they leave everything else for us. We have to explain a lot of things to the patients. So that's one thing that you're going to have to get used to if you want to become a nurse is that you will be in a lot more than what you think. Like you're responsible for med errors. If doctors put in wrong orders for medications, and if you happen to give the medication, it becomes your fault because you are a licensed person and you should have the knowledge to know about medications and know this medication should not be given to this person with XXX. So that happens a lot as well. I didn't realize that until I became a nurse. It's like, wow, there's a lot that we're responsible for that we can be sued for. People sue nurses, they don't sue doctors. And also, I mean, if you kill a patient because of a med error, like I said, you will never forget this. Like I've had friends that gave medications to patients because doctors told them to, even though they knew it was wrong and they did it anyways. It's still their fault because, like I said, they're a licensed person that has experience in whatever, so you should know the difference. And another thing that you will learn as a nurse is that, you know, people will assault you on your job. Patients aren't nice. Most are, but most are nice. But if you think about it, if you work in the emergency department, people that come there are in some sort of distress. So they're not in their best way. I've had patients come back and apologize from the way they act and how their family acts because people act crazy. Like I was stabbed with a hypodermic needle in my neck in New York City by a patient. People try to beat you up either outside of the hospital. We've had patients follow us to our cars, wait for us after work. I mean, I've seen people jump off buildings. So you see a lot. So, but on the flip side, it is a great career. You can get a job anywhere. You will have job stability wherever you go. When I was in New York, before I came to California, I had to switch my license over. I had 3 job offers before, or actually 4, before I even left the state. So nurses are high in demand. And with my level 1 trauma ER experience, I was able to pick from multiple hospitals. So I pretty much picked the one that paid the most, because any job in the ER is the same. So whatever pays the most, that's where I went.
Wow, that is a lot.
Sorry, it
That's
is a lot.
insane. I feel like that's like a reality people like have to, come to conclusion with before they even, because it's a tough career. It's tough schooling to even get through. And then later on, it's like these are things that you deal with that you don't necessarily like get taught in school. Dealing with these patients, dealing with, having to do roles that don't necessarily are under your description, but because obviously like doctors don't do those certain things, that you kind of have to like pull through and do it for them. But all of that being said, do you feel like you are more respected as an RN, or do you feel like you're more respected in the music industry?
I think as a registered nurse, people respect me because patients respect us. I feel patients actually trust nurses. They're doing a study. Patients actually trust nurses more than they trust doctors. And that's the fact that we're reliable, we're trustworthy, and we're always at the bedside. And one thing about nursing is we are all about the patient safety overall. So that's why it's kind of up to us to kind of safeguard all that doctors are doing compared to what we're doing to make sure it's safe.
Yeah.
But I feel like in music, I'm respected as well. I mean, you went to my last recording with me, and because your work and your voice speaks for yourself, and the way that you carry yourself compared to the other artists under your label, even my current record label, I'm still doing way better than all of their artists that have been on forever and all of their newer artists. So and let me get this straight. I've done more than ER nursing. So I know people are gonna say like, well, there's more. Yes, I started at home care. I did private nursing duties. I did concierge nursing. I went to people's house and dropped IVs, gave them fluids, med spa nursing. So I've done like UAS assessment nursing. So when we opened up cases for like Medicare, for people who wanted services in their homes, like home health, CNAs, HHAs. So I've done a lot in nursing. So I'm not just stuck with the ER. So I've done a lot. So I kind of have I think a wide variety of things I've done.
Yeah.
But
You can speak for a lot.
I can speak
of
for a lot,
nursing.
not just emergency nursing. I think emergency nursing is the best. Like the best field to get into is the ER because you learn a lot. I wanted to get in because to hone my skills, which I did. I am the master of IVs. I can get an IV on anybody. They usually call me. Usually, if they want an IV, they usually call me to get one. And even though I'm in management, I haven't put an IV in a while. But when I do, it comes like second nature. It just comes like that. So to answer your question, I think I'm respected in both, but the respect is like a different type of respect in each field.
And I mean, I definitely do want to get into all these crazy stories that you may have that you would like to share with us about, different experiences at the home care, at, clients' houses, especially in the ER, and, kind of give a taste to people that are looking into get into that field. However, I did want to do that in a separate video just because, I mean, I just think that it'll be a lot time consuming. But to wrap up this video, what's kind of like the point of you coming out to us 10, years later?
I mean, the reason why I came out is because I've done like several interviews the past like few months, and one I did an interview for Z100 in New York City, and they did the research and they brought it up about me and nursing. I was shocked because I don't really talk about it, but obviously, I mean, I'm from New York, so. And then I did another interview in Chicago, and they brought it up because they heard that interview. And the DJ made a point. He's like, I think that you're a lot more relatable than you being this this recording artist X, Y, and Z. If you're a nurse, you're actually a lot more relatable. And I actually agree with that. Like, people can relate to me now. To know the truth about me is, I'm not just this fabulous artist, but I'm also a hardworking nurse in an emergency department. So I just think for me, the whole point is why am I leaving, like you said, this part of my life out? Because this is kind of part of who I am, and I'm not embarrassed by it by no means. That's not why I kept it from everyone. I just felt like I had two separate lives, and I just wanted to keep my nursing and my music separate. But at some point, I knew it was going to collide and hit, and which it did. There was another article that was supposed to come out last year with I can't remember, brain fog, COVID.
That's
But
okay.
it was an article that was supposed to come out. I was really excited to come out, but there was some private information that at the time I was okay with coming out, but then I was like, nah, I don't think so. I don't think I'm ready for it. And part of that was me working in the medical field. So I just felt like at that time I was ready, but I really wasn't. But now I just feel I am.
Awesome. So, with that, thank you guys for tuning in. We will be coming out with more videos, especially now, him being a nurse. We will come out with a lot more nursing videos and a lot of, things that we can share because of HIPAA violations or HIPAA regulations. There's only so much that you can actually say. But if you guys do have any questions for our next video about either any stories, or any experiences, any questions, either about becoming what it takes to become a nurse or, to be a great nurse at a hospital, let us know in the comment section below. And until next time,
Stay
stay
street
street
smart.
smart.